Hey guys, this is my presentation on zombies. So where do zombies come from, and how did these undead flesh-eating creatures become so popular? Let's face it, in the 1990s, zombie fans had it rough. Back then, if you even expressed a remote interest in zombies towards others, either this would have happened to you, or this. But all jokes aside, those who had a genuine fascination with zombies were often viewed as taboo and outcasted from the social norm. But how exactly did zombies go from being unpopular in the 90s to having zombie proms in 2012? Our good friend here, David DeSalvo, offers a very valid and credible theory. But first, a brief history on how zombies made it to the United States. The statement that zombies derive from Haitian voodoo is one big pile of, The truth is, historians and anthropologists have found traces of zombie folklore in West Africa as early as the 1500s. It was only then, in conjunction with the French slave trade starting in 1697, where folklore containing zombies was brought with African slaves to Haiti. Although other forms of voodoo also made it to the New Orleans area, which was part of the French territory of Louisiana at the time, Haitian voodoo zombies remained in Haiti. Just after 1924, a traveling journalist named William Seabrook traveled to Haiti where he stayed with voodoo priests. Here he experienced first-hand voodoo zombie practices. It was only when Seabrook came back to the US where he first introduced the concept of Haitian voodoo zombies to the American public with his travelogue, The Magic Island. And like in most cases, book turned to film with the production of White Zombie released in 1932, where the writers of the film directly took zombie concepts from Seabrook's book. Then in '68 came the George A. Romero film, Night of the Living Dead, which forever altered the perception of zombies away from its Haitian voodoo origins. The Romero zombie is the zombie we are accustomed to today and features undead, decomposing, flesh-eating corpses, often overwhelming humans in mass numbers. And many zombie movies afterwards copied Romero's model. For the most part, zombie movies were very popular from the late 60s to the mid 80s, but only with horror fans, and after that, it started dying out. According to a number of credible sources, in the 90s, zombies in cinema faced extinction. During the 90s, zombies mainly survived through mediums such as video games, more specifically, the Resident Evil game released in 1996. Alright, and here's where my presentation is about to take a turn for the worse because I'm running out of time to finish this thing. So if this presentation has been bad to you, then I must apologize in advance for what's to come. The video game was extremely successful among a niche of gamers, and perhaps movie producers again lacked original ideas. Instead of turning book to film, this time around they turned video game to film. And with the success of the Resident Evil movie came a surge of new millennial zombie movies and media. Over 222 zombie movies have been created since the '02 release of Resident Evil. The crappy movie even went as far as making 4 sequels to the film in addition to many other horrible zombie movies. But there's no doubt that zombie popularity has risen significantly since the 2002 release of Resident Evil, which grossed $40 million compared to the $202 million grossing 2013 film World War Z. In 2014, our obsession mainly stays with the television show The Walking Dead. With 12.3 million viewers tuning in to its mid-season 3 premiere, it made it one of the most watched cable series dramas of all time. But what makes so many of us obsessed with these modern zombies in the present day? In the 30s, zombies were depicted as resurrected mind-controlled slaves. Perhaps there's a correlation with all the propaganda going on at the time, or maybe there's a correlation with Nazi soldiers being mind-controlled to conduct inhumane acts. In the 60s, zombies were depicted Romero style, and perhaps with the Cold War and Cuban Missile Crisis, the correlation was in our fear of nuclear annihilation. But what about today? I went ahead and made the claim that many of us are infatuated with zombies today because of the consistent, constant, and excessive media exposure of zombies within the last decade in conjunction with a zombie apocalypse representing how our society is drastically split by wealth. Going back to DeSalvo's concepts, he states, the more a message is repeated, the more likely we are to believe it, and familiarity breeds acceptance. Although DeSalvo was specifically referring to World War II propaganda, the same concept can be applied to zombies. And in the case of Resident Evil, familiarity bred acceptance. Some may point out that there was also a huge surge of zombie movies between the 60s and 80s, but how come those didn't make it mainstream? And the difference between then and now is this. Shows like The Walking Dead also represent the problem of financial inequality we're currently facing in society, where surviving humans represent the top 1%. The 1% uses the rest of the population to accomplish their own agendas, much like the way this character in the show uses zombies for her own personal agenda. The rest of the population drastically outnumbers the 1%, much like how the zombies seem to always outnumber surviving humans. The top 1% controls 48% of the world's wealth, and the top 85 people in the 1% own the same as the bottom half of the population. In The Walking Dead, wealth is determined by supplies. Supplies are the lifeline of the zombie apocalyptic world, much like money is the lifeline of modern day society. Don't have much of it, and it's probably likely you won't survive long. As you can see here, surviving humans are in control of the supplies, and not the zombies. I'm out of time.